Hey, Keith Vukasinovich here, checking in with folks. My first semester of doctoral work is officially in the books. Um, just a moment to kind of process what went well, what didn't go as planned, and kind of where to go from here. Things I'm learned, strategies, what's useful. Um, Number one, if your professors open your classes up early, take advantage of hitting the ground running and do as much stuff as you can before day one. From simple stuff like familiarizing yourself with the syllabus to if there's an opportunity to start basically planning out your readings, do that. Most doctoral programs are about a lot of reading, a lot of reading, and um, it's a skill set to manage the time and the demand. So you've got to try and front load yourself for success. What I would also say, make the most out of opportunities to get ahead of the game with learning or taking advantage of research opportunities, presentation opportunities, or teaching as soon as you can once you start your PhD. Those are all things that are going to benefit you in the long run. What I did was I added a fifth class to my first semester, best practice in teaching, and that opened up opportunities to teach that I felt comfortable pursuing only in my second semester in because I knew I was already aware of what the teaching methods were for some of the digital platforms, new learning environments, those sorts of things. I am actually teaching this coming semester and hopefully facilitating an online class for the first time as well. So I'll let you know about that. Um, what I didn't do such a great job of that first year is making sure that I had enough other stuff off, not first year, first semester, enough stuff off my plate to be purely focused on school, work, personal life. So self care kind of went away. I went from yoga and exercise almost daily to hit or miss on it. Enough to keep kind of my work towards certification in trauma sensitive yoga on track, but gained 10 pounds because of the amount I wasn't working out and kind of sedentary. Really balanced some of that out with eating a little bit better, so it wasn't too bad, but I didn't get to do as much self-care as I would have liked. And self-care is definitely something you're going to need to get through a PhD. As a friend of mine who already has hers says, it is a marathon, not a sprint. So the self-care activities are going to be important. Um, Research opportunities, I do want to send a shout out to Dr. David Ford and Dr. Keisha Kearns, folks I met at ACES, for encouraging me to submit a presentation to the American Counseling Association Law and Ethics Conference coming up here in New Orleans at the end of this month. I will actually be presenting. So this will be my first doctoral level presentation in a very long time. But you got to make the most of those opportunities because those are sorts of things that factor into what your life is going to look like after your PhD. And building those connections, meeting people, participating in your professional conferences and your organizations are all things that are also very important. Um, what I'm also going to say is if you're on a campus versus an online experience, please try and reach out and meet other black men because there are so few of us in most PhD programs that fellowship is important. I'm fortunate there's another African American male in my cohort of my PhD. Lauren and I are the first time I think in 30 years there's been two brothers in the cohort at the same time. And there is another brother from Chicago doing his PhD in criminal justice, also at UC, who uh, we've definitely formed a little network. We're working on some projects together for things we want to. There's a synergy and strength of us working together, and we recognize that, and we're going to keep kind of focused on that. Um, Other than that, I would say things have been kind of by the books. I did take an extra class this coming semester's what we call spring semester, and I added a mental health first aid certification because of the stuff that I do that's going to be useful and relevant to me. And I have 2 credits for a study abroad option that's going to be fun. I'll talk more about that later on in the semester. Um, but yeah, just still kind of on that charge to become Dr. Keith Vukasinovich with the Counselor Education and Supervision PhD. Still focusing in on school counseling, jumping through a few extra hoops to be a licensed school counselor when I finish this program. Remember, I am already a clinical counselor and I do practice here in the state of Ohio. Um, but I really have always had a warm space in my heart for working with our kids in our community, trying to be a bridge builder, helping what's the expression that Frederick Douglass, easier to build strong children than to fix broken men. Realistically, we got to do a little bit of both. But this is the update. I will do a better job of staying on top of these videos moving forward for semesters 2 and beyond. The first semester of a PhD was like drinking from a fire hose. So yeah, so a lot of things that were planned did not go as planned, and still sorting things out. But it's cool. So far, so good. Love my program. Um, really enjoying focusing in on the school to prison pipeline issues as I am, and hoping to be in a space to make a difference in the lives of a lot of folks. So this is it. Beginning of semester 2 check-in. Everybody be well. Peace.